Hi, welcome to the Hunting Channel Online's Tip of the Week. I'm your host, John Stallone. This week, we're going to be talking about Mathews No Cam bow. Been a lot of, I don't want to use the word controversy, but for lack of better terminology, controversy going around about this bow, a lot of talk about it. And a lot of you have asked me to review it, so I'm doing that right now, actually. I just got done shooting it in. I've been shooting it all week, and I've got it really dialed in. And my first impression of this bow is that it is the most accurate bow I've ever shot. I don't really do well with change, and I was a little worried that, I was a little skeptical about it at first, I gotta be honest with you. And the first couple of times I drew it back, I wasn't used to the draw cycle. But after I had shot it about 10 times, I was like, God, this thing is just, it's got a buttery smooth draw, and it's really easy to find your anchor point. It's just something about it, the way that it draws back, and there's like no resistance at all. It's just like, it's a constant, or I shouldn't say that there's no resistance, because obviously it's a 70-pound bow, there's some resistance, but the resistance doesn't change. It's the same pull the whole way through. There's no, peaks and valleys basically with this draw cycle. And not ever having shot anything like that before, it felt a little weird. But once I got used to it, like I said, it's really just an incredible shooting bow. The bow is weighted excellent. There's no hand shock. And like I said earlier, it has got to be the most accurate bow I've ever shot. And I say this because as I was shooting in my sight and getting her dialed in, I actually Robin Hooded 3 times at 40 yards. And let me tell you, I shoot 2 to 3 arrows max when I sight in. 1, because I don't want to break nocks and stuff. And 2, I feel like once I get to the 4th and 5th arrow, I'm not as strong and I'm not as steady, so those arrows don't give me the information that I really need. So to be shooting 2 to 3 arrows at 40 yards and Robin Hood it 3 times, and I wish I was filming it because that would be excellent footage to show you, but I wasn't. That to me tells me that this is a very repeatable, very accurate bow. And I have all the same setup on this bow as I have on my other bows, right down to the quiver and stabilizer. So I can honestly go on record here and say that this bow, without having any knock travel and the way that they have this cam system set up, is the most accurate bow I've ever seen. But you don't have to take it from me. We're actually going to go in and go see the experts at Arizona Archery Club and see what they have to say about it. Come on, let's go. They say yeah, and they say yeah. 'Cause all I do is win. Tell a look, what's up?
What's up, Johnny? How you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I want to see if we can pick your brain about the No Cam a little bit today.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Okay, buddy.
Well, now that, the viewers have heard what I got to say about that, I want to hear from the expert. What do you think about this bow?
Well, I'll tell you what, John, this Mathews No Cam is absolutely a wonderful bow. It's extremely accurate. By far the most accurate bow that I've ever shot.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. I haven't shot anything that's as accurate as this ever.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, the first time I actually took this bow out and sighted it in at 60 yards, I didn't realize, I thought my arrows were close, but I didn't realize that I was actually breaking nocks, and I shoot very expensive arrows, so that day kind of cost me a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, I've never been able to shoot that side of a group at 60 yards, and it's one of those things that when I practice here on the range, I have to shoot a different spot on each target because I'll break arrows.
I had a very similar experience.
Yeah, it's unreal. So yeah, there's a couple things we need to talk about, in regards to this bow. And
yeah, what makes it tick?
I'll tell you, one of the when it first landed here, we said, oh my gosh, here's the new NoCam, but it actually does have cams, but it doesn't have a working cam. So,
right.
When we watched the reviews and we watched the videos, when they announced it, we basically found out that it's a completely concentric cam. And that's something that I don't want to say that it's old technology. It's certainly not old technology. It may be an older design, but the technology's finally here. Mathews finally produced the technology to take, 2 round wheels and actually produce quite a bit of speed. And make this bow the way it is. So being that it's concentric, what that means is that if you look at the older solo cam Mathews bows, you had an idler wheel, round idler wheel up here. You had a working cam down here that was oblong, had an egg shape to it.
Right.
Well, what happens is when you have one working cam, you have this knock travel that you have to get over, and basically that draw force curve of that oblong cam, what happens is if you watch an arrow as it pulls back in slow motion as you're drawing it back, what it does is it actually comes up over that draw curve and then comes back down the plane, right? So that's what us bow techs tune a bow to, is to tune to that knock travel, because there's nothing you can do about it. It's there.
Right.
With this particular bow, when you watch it in slow motion being drawn back, that arrow comes back perfectly straight.
Right.
And then it
comes back perfectly
exactly.
straight.
It shoots perfectly straight, being all your angles are true angles.
Right.
Okay, so there is no oblong working cam draw force curve that you have to get over.
Right.
So that's why this bow is so accurate. So, John, one of the things that I want to talk to you about is some of the misconceptions with this bow. We've had quite a few people come up to the counter and say, I don't want the new Mathews No Cam because it's slow.
Right.
And then I have to educate them on, the IBO speed, which is completely unrealistic, okay, which is 70 pounds, 30 inches of draw length with a 350 grain arrow. Most people who are hunting are not going to hunt with a 350 grain arrow. Most people aren't a 30-inch draw length.
Correct.
And so with that being said, one of the crucial aspects about this bow is its efficiency. Okay, the efficiency rating, so let's just hypothetically say you have a 90% efficiency rating. That means that 90% of the energy that this bow produces is transferred into the arrow. Okay? 90% has always been that kind of benchmark. That's what everybody else, all the other bow manufacturers are trying to achieve. This particular bow is up around 96%.
Wow.
So even though it might seem like the IBO rating on this bow is slow,
right,
when we started testing it by shooting heavier arrows, and the heavier arrow you shoot, the more efficiency you're going to actually get out of the bow.
Oh wow. Okay.
So with that being said, I shoot a 450 grain arrow out of this bow at 29.5 inches of draw length at 67 pounds. I'm still getting a speed of 273.
That's awesome.
Okay, my Chill R last year, which IBO's 20 feet a second faster than this bow, only shot 276. So the difference between the two bows is only 3 feet a second with the same arrow.
Right.
So with that being said, this bow is so efficient compared to all the other bows that might IBO faster, it's still going to produce those speeds with those heavier arrows than some of these other bows that may have a 75% efficiency rating, but their IBO speed is way up there.
Does that calculate too with the efficiency carrying over when shooting shorter draw lengths?
Absolutely.
Because I know when it first came out, and I first got mine, and I've been playing around with it now for a couple months, we shot it against the Nitrum, which is, a very nice bow that Hoyt just put out, and we shot it at the 34 with the same wheels and all that stuff like that, the same let off, and they were only a few feet per second different.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because remember when we were talking about that draw force curve of that
right.
cams that have a draw force curve like that, an oblong shape, you have to get the full rotation of that cam to get the full potential that that bow can shoot. So in the shorter draw lengths, what I see a lot of mistakes that people make is they buy a bow, like whether it's a Hoyt or some other type of, if it's a cam and a half or dual cam bow, is they have a short draw length, let's say it's 26 inches, and they're not utilizing the full rotation of that draw force curve on that cam. Well, then you're defeating the purpose of having a dual cam or a cam and a half bow. This particular bow, though, because it's concentric in the sense that both cams are round, you still have, you don't have the same draw force curve that you do with an oblong cam. You're relying on the axle hubs of this bow to produce that speed, and the modules of this bow are going to take that speed and transfer it to the shorter draw lengths, if that makes sense. So
it does.
Yeah, so this is an awesome bow for the shorter draw lengths, because you're still going to get that speed and that efficiency out of it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I know that's a thing that people come across all the time, and I just wanted to make sure that in my head that was the case. You know, because I know how to shoot these things. I don't know how to work on them very well. I could tie in a loop. I could do a couple of things.
Yeah, we're the opposite. We know how to work on them well. We just can't shoot them very well.
But yeah, so yeah, let's get out and shoot them and see what we can do with these guys today.
Absolutely. Let's do it.